Today, we formally welcome into this community our new president, Dr. Fayneese S. Miller. Here to introduce her is distinguished Dr. Edmund W. Gordon, EDD, who is the John M. Musser Professor of Psychology Emeritus from Yale University. Dr. Gordon is also the Richard March Ho Professor Emeritus of Psychology and Education from Teachers College at Columbia University. Dr. Gordon was at Yale when Dr. Miller was completing her postdoctoral work there. Dr. Miller considers Dr. Gordon a mentor, a colleague, and a friend. It is my pleasure to welcome to the podium Dr. Edmund Gordon.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Fayneese, for inviting me to share this occasion with you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just so very pleased to present my good friend and my protege, Professor Fayneese Miller, for installation as the 20th president of Hamline University. The distinguished African-American theologian Howard Thurman enjoyed telling a story of a fellow who wandered into heaven one day. He had been there only a few days when St. Peter called him in for a talk to tell him that a mistake had been made. The angels of death had picked up the wrong man. He'd have to leave. Our young friend Robert gladly returned to Earth, but he never stopped talking about his trip to heaven and having seen God. His friends wanted to know more. Tell us about him. What was he like? And Robert said, well, you can't help but be impressed by this combined strength, compassion, and power that emanates from the Holy One. But then I noticed, Robert said, she is black. Yes, friends, your new president is a woman, and she is black, and she is smart as a whip. If you didn't get that last word, she's smart as a whip. She is as decent as human beings come. She is wise. She is compassionate. Professor Fayneese Miller was educated in social psychology. She's gained a reputation for her high degree of expertise in quantitative and qualitative behavioral science. She studies especially the development of adolescents and young adults. Back at Yale, where I first met Fayneese, there was an inside joke. We would say, she can count, and she can also think. She can also think. We use that to separate her from the folks who are so enamored of digitalization and quantitative analytics that they sometimes substitute numeracy for thought. Professor Miller uses numbers. She turns to data to help her think, never instead of thinking. When confronted with a problem, she tends to gather the relevant information, but she asks for time to think about it. Her thinking is likely to include the facts, but she worries about the facts and what they mean in the various contexts that they are to be applied, and what they mean to the people who must be affected by them. Her judgments are made with sensitivity to the possible consequences for real people who will be affected. But be careful now. Don't take this concern for people and the softer kinds of data that are important in making decisions. Don't think that that means she's a pushover. Intellectually and operationally, she can be a tough cookie. She comes into the ring prepared. And if she has to, she will slug it out with you. I usually expect to lose debates with her. If you doubt my judgment, ask Bob, her husband. Or even better, David, her young adult son, about his debates with his mom. But Fayneese is never accused of being unfair. She's committed to humane values. She is compassionate, as I've said. She believes in social justice, as you've heard. She believes that the humane society can also be efficient, and that such societies can get things done. Like my own mentor, the late W.E.B. Du Bois, she believes that we who are privileged to know, who are privileged to understand, have a moral responsibility to act on the basis of that understanding. And she will act. I think Professor Miller will be an excellent leader here at Hamline. I applaud the good judgment of the search committee and the Board of Trustees in selecting her. She is one of our finest. You cannot avoid according her respect. I hope you will embrace her. I pray that you will nurture her. I know that you will grow to cherish her, as I do. I proudly present Fayneese Miller. I jealously entrust her to your care.